Hi and welcome to SCW here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave the comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. NXT TakeOver 31 is going to be taking place this Sunday. Literally seems to have been thrown together over a couple of episodes of NXT TV. This seems very last minute and late. You could argue that this is perhaps a bit of an unprepared takeover, really, but certainly looks to be a fun card anyway, and a lot of fresh faces seem to be on this card as well, perhaps building towards the future of NXT here. Certainly with the WWE draft coming up next week, maybe some of the more higher profile NXT stars may be on their way, so it looks like this show could be a place to maybe make a few new stars going forward. But certainly I'm going to be talking about the NXT Championship here in the first match. But before I do, of course, it was only 5 or 6 weeks ago we had an NXT TakeOver, and Karrion Kross won the belt and, of course, had to forfeit again, injured in the match. You sort of feel that this would have been a good place to have actually had that NXT Championship match decided, but it seems that, of course, we would have the new champion in Finn Balor. He's going to be defending against Kyle O'Reilly, who, to be fair, has been seen as a tag team specialist. I've been a fan of O'Reilly for many, many years, to be fair, since his Ring of Honor days, particularly 2016, his final battle run he had where he won the championship from, ironically, Adam Cole. Doing so, he lost the belt in quick fashion, actually, because he was signing with WWE. He lost the championship at Wrestle Kingdom that following year to Adam Cole, and, of course, Adam Cole would sign with WWE later in the year after he dropped that Ring of Honor championship. So I've been following Kyle O'Reilly for quite a while, and I think he's a great talent. I think he's someone that's very likeable as well. It feels that he's on a bit of a babyface turn at the moment with the UE. Particularly him and Cole seem to be turning face at this moment anyway. And it's great to see him get this opportunity, a singles push. Of course, he spent most of the time in his NXT as a tag team wrestler, along with Bobby Fish, particularly at times with Roderick Strong as well. But now he's going to have that time to have a singles push himself. And I think this is going to be a real breakout story, a real breakout moment. I love the show of respect that him and Finn Balor had during NXT this week with their face-to-face with Shawn Michaels there. It almost seemed that Kyle O'Reilly was chasing Finn Balor for many years, but every time he got to the place where Balor was, that the next step was taken in Finn Balor's career. Now they're in the same place at the same time, and they can finally have this one-on-one encounter. And I really expect this to be one of the matches, if not the match of the night. I think it's going to be a spectacle. I think that, Kyle O'Reilly can take punishment, and he's shown that with many matches in NXT and throughout his career in the past. Finn Balor is great additioning out. I think that it's just going to be an awesome match, and of course, the UE tends to watch each other's backs here, but Kyle O'Reilly has said he's going to be a man and go for this one. It seems to be one-on-one. I really think it's going to be a star-making performance, but my prediction will be for Finn Balor to retain the championship. Of course, the champion always retains on the first defense, right? That was Kyle O'Reilly's words, and usually seems to be the way. It is the way I'm going to go. As much as I expect a new star to be made, I don't expect him to walk away as champion. We'll look next then at the NXT Women's Championship match, and certainly one that I felt was back and forth here of what I could do with the prediction. Io Shirai against Candice LeRae. Not the first time they faced one another on TakeOver. I believe Toronto 2. They faced each other and had a show-stealing performance with that match. This also could be a match of the night candidate here with these two. Of course, Io Shirai's on top of her game. Candice LeRae as well seems to just really be stepping into her own shadow, it feels, in the women's division. She's been many times overlooked, but right now it feels that a takeover just would be not a takeover without her. So it's really good to see her in this championship match here, and I think that there is a chance that she could walk away the champion. My feeling is, though, that Io Shirai here will retain, but I think this is a bit dependent on the WWE draft. I have a feeling Shirai could be called up to either Raw or SmackDown in the next week, but there is also a case as well, though, that just maybe, if Gargano and Candice maybe would be called up themselves to Raw or SmackDown. But Gargano has said many times previously that he wants to remain in NXT. So I'm not so sure if that one is going to happen. So, but looking at NXT this week, and let's look at the actual storyline itself rather than focusing on the draft for the prediction. I think they had a great mixed tag match on NXT this week. We had Damien Priest and Io Shirai teaming up against Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. Now, of course, this kind of almost plays into both here, really, in one way. But Johnny Gargano picked up the victory over Damien Priest, and both him and Candice LeRae were holding the championships respectively. The Garganos, the Mr. and Mrs. Champion after TakeOver. They certainly teased it, but both of them were holding the belts before the show, which usually is a sign saying that that's not going to happen. So our prediction will be Io Shirai to actually pick up the victory, but I expect the ladies to have an absolute belter of a match. They did it before. I expect them to do it again. We've already sort of started touching there on the North American Championship then, with Gargano actually holding the championship before the show. It's a bad omen, isn't it? Let's be fair. And Damien Priest, not long being a champion. He's actually held the championship since TakeOver 13. You kind of feel like with Damien Priest that, Gargano was in that match where Priest won the championship in that ladder match. And you feel that Gargano, if he was going to win the belt, he would have won it in the ladder match. It feels like it's a time with NXT where we need to start pushing these stars and making new stars and making them go where they're going towards the main event. NXT has always been that brand that's supposed to be building the stars for the future, not continually keeping the stars of the current. And you could argue Finn Balor is the NXT champion. Yes, he is. He's a star of the current. He's been the Universal champion. We're almost going backwards now rather than going forwards here. But Gargano is someone that has been at the top of NXT. He seems to be right now in a position where he could perhaps put over talent in NXT. So I feel for me, I'm going to go for Damien Priest to retain his championship here. I feel that that one will be my prediction. But I would love to see Gargano and Candice LeRae as champions. I think that would be a fun gimmick. I think it would be a fun storyline going forward. But I do just have this feeling that both of those champions are going to retain. Let's talk about another championship match. We've got the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, which I'm really pleased to see is on the TakeOver. I want to see that belt taken seriously. We've got Santos Escobar taking on Isiah, Swerve, Scott. Now, of course, this is Lucha Underground at its best here. We've got King Cuerno against Killshot. But let's look past the Lucha days. I mean, these two are fantastic talents in the ring. I really enjoy both of their work, watching them in ring. When it comes to the character work and what the direction has gone with the storyline, I have enjoyed it, but I have found it a bit lackluster in places. My feeling is that with Escobar, I really enjoyed what he did with the mask, because of course he took it off, but then actually had it where he used the mask to do the headbutt. Obviously there was some sort of object in the mask to retain the championship previously, but of course this storyline is also built on the fact that Escobar has only lost to Swerve Scott. He's the only person that's beaten Santos at this point in NXT. So I think that this is going to be a good match. It seems to be back and forth. Both have had advantages over one another. It does feel like it could be time for a title change, but looking at the other contenders that could be in position for an NXT Cruiserweight Championship match, I still feel that Escobar is the one that's going to come out on top here. I don't think it's quite time for him to drop that championship. I think it comes to a point when there's Jordan Devlin able to come back in and, you know, do the same thing that we've seen Sami Zayn do, where you've held that belt while I've been away, I'm the real Cruiserweight champion. That's when you sort of need, I think, a babyface to have that championship. But I'm not sure yet that Jordan Devlin would be able to go to compete in NXT at this point. I've not even seen him in NXT UK since his return as of yet. So I don't think that one's going to be happening in the near future. So I think a future contender could be Kushida, and I think that could be your next Cruiserweight champion. So for that reason and that reason alone, I'm going to go for Santos Escobar to retain his championship. I think that him versus Kushida could be the money match down the line. Last but not least then, we spoke about Kushida. Let's talk about his match with Velveteen Dream. We're going to get the real Kushida now. It feels like it's been a bit of a setback since he's joined NXT so far. I mean, this guy's been a legend in Japan. He's had some great outings as well for Ring of Honor and just doing appearances around the world as well. I've been a big fan of Kushida's work previously, and I must admit, I've been quite disappointed with his run so far in WWE. I just don't think he's been booked strongly. Of course, the language can be part of it. Of course, he's still, even with the video package we had this week, a lot of Japanese was in there rather than actually English. So, I mean, maybe that's something that could perhaps set him back. Of course, being in WWE, of course, a lot of it is about the character work, the personality getting over. So the best way to do it is to try and give him more of a mean streak, which is what we've seen in recent times. Of course, he's had injury setbacks, but now it seems to be Kushida saying, this is my time, I'm going to take it. We're seeing a lot more of an aggressive streak from him, and he seems to be governing the program now with the Velveteen Dream. Of course, it seemed to cost him in that Gauntlet Eliminator match that we had just the other week. So it seems to have set this match up quite nicely. Velveteen Dream says that he does his best work on takeovers, but also Dream has been one that sort of done great work going into takeovers, but not necessarily picked up victories. So I expect that trend to continue. I expect that the Dream will lose here, and I think Kushida gets his rub and hopefully can start really pushing on NXT, because now really feels like we need to start moving with Kushida. He's been there now for a year and a half, and we've not seen so much of the best of him so far, and there's a great talent in there. It's time to start getting the best out of him. So that's the takeover matches that we've had so far. So that's the predictions there for that. I wonder if we could get Rhea Ripley, Raquel Gonzalez added last minute. There's no tag team match either. Breezango was supposed to be defending at some point over against the Undisputed Era. Of course, we had the idea of maybe Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish, or it could have been Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. That hasn't been decided yet who's going to be there. Maybe that's the kickoff match we could get for the show, and then maybe we could learn who's going to take on Breezango at a later date. But I do like to see the tag teams involved on a takeover, so I'm a bit disappointed that it's not featured here in the championship match for this takeover event. It's not the first time it's happened of late, so hopefully the tag team division can establish itself just a bit more, and we can hopefully see the tag team belts being included on future takeovers after this one. But that's all from me anyway, and like I say, NXT TakeOver 31, it seems to have been put together very quickly. You could say that it's probably been the worst build for a takeover, probably in a long time anyway, and yeah, it's a bit disappointing from that perspective. It feels a bit rushed, but I do think that there is an underlying purpose with this show. I do feel that we are looking to try and build the future stars of NXT, build those people for the future, and there's nothing like a takeover that builds stars. The only thing with takeovers, they still miss their key thing that makes them special, and that's the fan base. The fans there really make takeovers special. Them being in the performance centre for takeovers as well does take it away a little bit. I am also a little bit disappointed we've not got a special name. A retired WWE pay-per-view name could have been fun just to use here rather than TakeOver 31. I hope that when we get our next takeover that we do sort of get back to the special names that we do have for takeovers, because just number ones are okay, they're fine, but you start to realise that there's been a lot of takeovers, and I kind of want to keep them as special as possible, because takeover's been amazing for nearly the last 7 or so years that they've been doing it, 6-7 years. So I want them to remain special, and this one seems very quick after the last one, but I understand that they probably want to get their house in order. A lot of plans were thrown into disarray with the injury to Karrion Kross. Of course, Dexter Lumis as well, who's only just returned this week, was injured as well going into the last takeover. I wonder if that had anything going into what some of the plans may or may not have been. Of course, we have the draft coming up next week as well, which could throw all these plans into disarray as well. Let's hope for NXT that it's going to be a bright future going forward, and they have a knockout takeover here, and that once this show is finished, fingers crossed as well that they don't get so hampered by the draft with a lot of the talents being moved to Raw and SmackDown, but hopefully they will gain 1 or 2 of their own. I should mention before I leave as well that there has been a tease of a mystery person that's going to turn up at this takeover. Of course, we've seen a couple of video packages that have been thrown together. Dave Meltzer's reported that Bo Dallas could be one. I'm not so sure of that. I don't know. Something tells me this is going to be a female. I don't know. I've just had that feeling that maybe we could see the return of Ember Moon. So she's going to be my pick as the potential return here. But if it is a guy, potentially Bo Dallas. I mean, this seems to be craved around someone who's been a champion before, someone that wants to get back into that championship picture. And you look at the former previous champions of the NXT Men's and Women's Championship, and I do think that these are probably the safest choices to make. I don't see other people that would drop back to NXT at this point if they'd been on Raw or SmackDown. Ember Moon has been out with an injury for a long time, so people would almost feel that she's a forgotten name. There was actually rumours and worries that she would be able to return back. Doesn't feel that she's given up, and I hope that she will be returning. Of course, the Sandals with Tegan Knox with another torn ACL. I think they could do with another female coming into the division. So I really hope that this is a return of Ember Moon. I think that matches against the likes of Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Shotzi Blackheart, Dakota Kai, they all sound really exciting. So I really hope that it's Ember Moon, and that will be my prediction going in. But that's all from me. Anyway, thank you for watching on SCW. Make sure to keep an eye on the channel. This Week in Wrestling will be coming up tomorrow. If you're an Impact fan, Victory Road predictions coming up as well. They'll be dropping later today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. This has been NXT TakeOver 31 predictions here on SCW. Have a great day.